Unscripted.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of PD and P-Dubs Unscripted. P-Dubs, it's good to be with you here today.
Great to be with you and everyone else listening. Thanks for listening, everybody. It's really kind of nice that you listen to Pastor and I go on and on about things.
Right, and you probably got better things to do with your time than listen to us talk about whatever we come up with.
Yeah. So hope you're having a great Advent season, everybody, and working through all the seasonal preparations, but don't forget the preparations of preparing the way for Jesus.
Right, as you preached about this past weekend with John the Baptist. But at least you're prepared this year for your Christmas presents.
I am. I was so happy to report to Pastor today that I have completed for my children all the present buying that we need, and I would say all but 2 or 3 are coming on time for our family gathering this Sunday.
So I give you a little bit of a break there because you guys do your Christmas kind of early.
It is. In the Schilf household, there are many places to go and moving parts, so the earlier the better for everyone, and it just puts a little extra pressure on me to get things done.
But yeah, you're like before and after because you have like Epiphany and...
Yeah, we start and end. Yeah.
Man, you guys...
I tell you, I don't know. It's kind of different.
You're celebrating the birth of Christ multiple days.
Oh, yeah. It's we go beyond the 12 days of Christmas.
I was going to say, you really get those 12 days of Christmas.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And, it's different. I enjoy, being with everybody on Christmas Day. But it's sometimes as the family grows, you got to change.
Right. And that's hard for us Lutherans sometimes, that change.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I'm just thinking of an old show, the '70s, the Brady Bunch.
Okay.
And Peter, his voice started changing because he hit puberty, and so they were singing a song called "It's Time to Change." And so that's what was going through my head. So if anybody remembers Peter Brady, it's time to change. You got to rearrange,
See, I've seen some Brady Bunch in my lifetime, but I don't remember that episode.
You're probably a better individual for not having seen it. But
I just Marsha getting her nose broken by the football.
Yeah. Oh, you see it multiple times hitting her nose. That was like the instant replay of the 70s.
And what, Alice was the
maid. Yep. And it was quite a crew.
Man,
and
what an iconic theme song and intro.
Yeah.
With the squares.
It was. Yeah. Oh, and the scene where the show where Greg was the photographer for the football game, and there was this play, a reception in the touchdown, and the guy caught it, but he was ruled out of bounds.
Oh.
But Greg was taking a picture of the cheerleader, as Greg would.
Right.
But in the background was this play, and Greg, he had his own photo development room, and he's blowing up the picture, and he got it right down. So it was like the instant replay, not so instant, and he saw that the guy was inbounds, took it to like whomever, the school, and said, "You should win." And I can't remember I don't know if they turned the score over and let them win or not, but
that wouldn't be really realistic.
No,
it's like nowadays in the NFL, oh yeah, we blew that call. You still lost, but we were wrong.
Yeah. I don't think they turned it over, but they said they asked Greg to do more photography of the football game. So
man,
oh boy, we really are. I've already taken this podcast down to another road.
I know.
Sorry about that.
No, and I'm just trying to see if we can get the answer to did they change up them. It says Greg joins the high school football team and becomes no, that's not. Bobby annoys his family when he becomes a photographer and takes a surprise photo. That's a different episode.
That's a different episode.
Okay, because I just typed in Brady Bunch episode football photograph episode, and I got this click episode. Oh, photographic evidence.
Yes, that's it.
To get the score of the football game reversed. I don't know if he did.
See, it is a thing.
I'm just really intrigued now.
Yeah. See, I'm surprised like Brady Bunch shows aren't on like Netflix or something like that or Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I don't know why it isn't. But yeah, like I'm surprised we're talking this and not Starbucks here. Or not Starbucks, I don't know why I said that.
I was like, I don't know why either.
I was thinking Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
Yeah, I don't know. I can just find a YouTube clip where it's him and whatever, I can't think of the dad's name. I see them in the dark room looking at the photo. But I can't pull it up, so.
That's okay. But yeah, that was a fun episode. It got everybody intrigued, and it was like a precursor to like, what they're doing now. After further review,
And right.
play stands, play calls. It just took longer.
All those old TV shows now coming, you think of Jetsons where you almost have like an Apple Watch is what they were, or Star Trek.
Yeah.
All these things that we now have that seem forced. The only thing we haven't seen, well, we got a little bit, but I think of like the old, like, is it the Looney Tunes cartoons where it's the car of the future?
Yeah.
And the guy's like getting shaved as he's driving.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we have that quite yet, but we do have self-driving cars, which I don't know.
Yeah, but they're not flying.
They're not flying. I don't trust the self-driving cars.
I don't know that I would either. But anyway, we're here to talk not about all of that, but we were just, it's being the Christmas season. We thought we'd have fun with some topics like, favorite memories, favorite Christmas songs, or favorite Christmas cookies, or traditions that you have in your family, which you kind of shared a little bit of what our family's, it's like starting a new tradition kind of thing. So
right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of tradition, I think one of the ones that from when I was a kid, and I think I've shared maybe at other places, but we used to do like growing up, I got two older brothers, and we had three kind of things that we would do starting in December during Advent. One would go to the chocolate Advent calendar and get the little square chocolate piece. The other would go to what we called the pocket, and it was like this pocket, and there was different things in there. Like sometimes it was maybe baseball cards or like the little gold coins that are like chocolate.
yeah.
And then the one that was probably the lamest of them all was there's a little like Christmas tree my mom made, knitted together or something, and you just had to put an ornament on it.
Oh.
So it wasn't as cool because you didn't get a piece of chocolate or you didn't get the pocket, and that was always the favorite.
Gotcha.
Especially if you get baseball cards because, who
that's
doesn't want
pretty
some
cool.
baseball cards?
Right.
And that was when baseball cards are still a little bit cheaper than what they are now when it's like $8 and you get, 4 cards in there?
Is that what it is?
It's ridiculous. I haven't bought cards for a while, but every once in a while, I'd like to just buy a pack just for the fun of it.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And no stick of bubble gum to chip your tooth on.
Well, that was just the most wretched tasting chewing gum there ever was. But you still chewed it.
You still got a free piece of gum.
Yeah, you did.
And then some of the dust was on the card.
Oh, yeah. But the gum was not pliable. It was so hard it would break right away.
If you went like that.
It was bad news.
But yes, so that was always a tradition, and still to this day, like my mom will still buy me a chocolate advent calendar. So,
oh, nice.
Do that every morning. And I was like, do I really need this little piece of chocolate? Because there's probably more calories in here than what I realized.
Yeah. We always had like the little mouse that you would move on the advent calendar. In fact, our family has that, so we have that tradition of what my mom had when we were growing up. So that's Sydney brought it over the other day. I don't know why she had it, but like all of a sudden, and when people come over, the mouse doesn't get moved every day, and so like, we got to move the mouse, 4 days because nobody's taking care of it. So we didn't get any chocolates or anything for it. It was just the fun activity of moving the mouse, counting the days down.
Right.
But yeah, I was thinking of like we are doing the midweek Advent services with our school children. And I don't think back in my day here at Emmanuel, we did the Wednesday things. There was always the Christmas program that the whole school did at once. And I don't know if it was on Christmas Eve. It might have been. But I remember that when we would come out, everybody would get that white bag of goodies. And it was like,
orange.
Yeah, as a kid, you're like, oh, yeah, we're going to get, we're getting chocolates or candy or whatever. And you open it up and there's an orange in there. There's walnuts and you really had to look for any kind of candy.
Did you get, maybe I'm thinking, because I think we've talked about this, like just not on podcasts, but like those orange peanuts, those candied
Oh,
peanuts.
those marshmallowy orange peanuts. Yes.
Were they part of that?
Probably. Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah. So, it was kind of one of those as a kid. You'd take a bite thinking, oh, these are good. And then you get halfway through it and you're like,
not good.
Not too sure. But like, I'd get so excited about it was a white bag. Well, sometimes it was a brown bag. Yeah. Maybe it was brown because the white bags are the luminaries, out in the sidewalk. But everybody remembered all of that. And I don't know. I'm sure there's meaning behind each article of food that's in the bag. And
That's not what the kids are looking for.
no, but at the end, that was our reward. Like, oh, yeah, we did a great program. We sang, Away in the Manger really good. And then you get home and you're like, I don't like that. And I don't like that. And, and then you're digging for the candy.
Right.
So,
But yeah, that's kind of what I always think of, like, growing up in my home church was always that Christmas Eve, the 7:00 service was always the kids doing the nativity story.
yeah.
And like, it's such a big deal if you got to be Joseph or Mary. That's the high spot.
That is. Yes.
But I feel like churches are getting further and further away from doing that on Christmas Eve, having like the kiddos do that.
Seems like it. Yeah. Was it like stuff you rehearsed or?
Oh yeah, we rehearsed. Like
okay.
that was like what we would practice in Sunday school leading up. I'm sure there were songs and stuff and people, because I'm pretty sure I remember reading something from like the pulpit, as a kid, whatever I had to read to narrate. So yeah, I remember, we'd go to that, and then we go to my grandma's house and open up the presents from her, and then go back home that was always Christmas Eve. We never went to like the 11 o'clock with the candle lights for Silent Night.
Yeah, we would do I think it probably was the 7:00 service back in the day, and I can't remember if I think we would eat after church. Yeah, because my mom would put out all these appetizers, or she called them noshi's. And it was like cookies and crackers and shrimp.
It's almost like a charcuterie board these days.
Oh, yeah. It was, Mom had it all out on the glass table in the living room, which,
that's a fancier meal.
The fancy room. And she had my mom and dad had this real thick glass top table. And all the good noshi's were on the glass top table. And so everybody's eating and eating and eating. And, the little hot dogs, and all that are in the barbecue sauce and probably some herring and things like that, which
that does not sound appealing.
Yeah, my brother liked that. And so then we'd go to church at Emmanuel and come back. And then my mom would have this amazingly, wonderfully delicious meal with so many things. And so that takes a while. And then it was like, okay, time to open the gifts. So as a kid, you're like, can we open the gifts? Can we open the gifts?
Right.
Not till after dinner. And of course, it had to have dessert because there was pies, there was cookies, I don't know how, we didn't go into a food coma.
Right.
So then we go and open presents. And in our household, it was each person opened every one of their gifts first. So we would start from youngest to oldest and then rotate oldest to youngest. And, you got a house full of people, and it took hours. It would take hours for us. And sometimes, we would get close to the end when it was the 11 o'clock service at Emmanuel.
Okay.
And some of them we were either done or still going. Many years we would go past the 11 o'clock in opening gifts. But sometimes we would be done and just a handful would go to the service to sing Silent Night and hold the candles and all that. Because we didn't do the Silent Night with the candles at the 7 o'clock, I don't think. And so that's what my mom and my sister-in-laws liked, and it was pretty rare that we could go there, but when we did, it was cool.
Yeah, I think, for us when I was little, we'd have a big dinner at Grandma's house before going to church. Then as we got older, it was just afterwards, and she'd have hors d'oeuvres, kind of like the shrimp, and then something my family makes, and I think I made them for things here, that rye bread thing with the Jimmy Dean sausage and ground beef and melted Velveeta cheese.
Yep.
And so that was always, one of my favorite things, and still to this day, after our 5 o'clock service, I usually go to my parents' house, and Mom has some of that same type of snacky foods. And as you're talking about Christmas Eve and the presents, and I was thinking about something, and we talked a little bit at our staff party about like favorite Christmas present.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you know what? I realized I still have a Christmas present that I got as a little kid, still up in my office at my house, and it is a 1988 starting lineup of Ozzie Guillen.
Oh.
Like, for some odd reason, I have kept... I mean, I know it's my favorite player.
Oh, it's the lineup card.
No, it's the starting lineup, like this little... I'm showing the Pastor Moore.
Oh, I got you.
Remember those little...
Oh, yeah.
So I have that unopened on a shelf in my office at the house, the little figure.
Probably worth thousands.
Well, this one, which is on Etsy right now, is $29.53 for it in the original packaging.
$2,953 or $29.53.
$29.53.
All right. Well, it's something.
And, there's only one in stock, but, over the years, I have bought, I think Ozzie has 4 starting lineups. I have all 4 of them I bought off eBay in the original packaging. So I have this in the original packaging, plus the one I got when I was a kid. But think about that, 1988, that's 30 some odd years old.
That is something.
Ozzie's still looking pretty good. But yeah, it's on the one shelf and from some other sports stuff I haven't.
So that was a gift that you got?
Oh, yeah, that was a Christmas Eve present, I'm pretty sure.
And you had the foresight to not open it then.
No, I did.
Oh, you did open it.
I opened it. Oh, it's open.
Oh, okay.
And I think probably the card is probably in like my little sheet, my little binder of Ozzie Guillen cards and the little sleeves where you get 9 cards. That's probably where the starting lineup card that came with it is. But no, it was later in my life, probably in the last 5 or 6 years. Because, Ozzie wasn't that good where you can get his stuff really cheap.
Yeah.
So, I think I've got all of his, starting lineups for the most part, all under, $15 off of eBay individually. Yeah. So, have all 4 of them hanging up in that same room at the house.
Gotcha.
But I have, but I got the original one that I got as a kid, plus it in the packaging from some secondary market.
Think of when you gather as a family, there's some strange, funny things that go on with the family or just plain weird, in the household. And so as you're kind of sharing that popped into my head. My kids were little and we were over at my mom and dad's and my brother Vern, he smoked a lot. And so Sydney, she must have been, I don't know, 6 or 7. She didn't like the fact that her uncle Vern smoked. And she was always like, Uncle Vern, you shouldn't smoke. I know. He shouldn't smoke. So one year, she got it in her head. She's going to get, Grandma had a bowl full of peanuts. So Sydney would take a handful of peanuts and plunk them where Uncle Vern's cigarettes were. And she would take his pack of cigarettes and hide them. So he would go sit down. Let's say he'd go to the other room or whatever, he'd come back. And he's like, where's my cigarettes? And he's like, what's all these peanuts? And we would be trying not to laugh. And Sydney was not owning up to it. Where's my cigarettes? And so then all of a sudden he found out that what she was up to, and he was not happy. She's like, Uncle Vern, you just eat peanuts. It's healthier. It's healthier than smoking cigarettes.
It's good for your heart, peanuts.
Yeah. I mean, she did that one Christmas. We were roaring. Sid, where did you get this idea? I don't know. I just thought of it. I didn't want Uncle Vern to smoke cigarettes. Hilarious.
So I was just looking on the Ozzie Guillen starting lineup. On the back, it has the back card of it. And it's collect your favorite players from your favorite teams. Who do you think the 1988 Cubs had on their checklist for starting lineup action figures?
1988. Well, Ryan Sandberg.
Yep, Rhino's on there.
Probably too soon for Mark Grace, huh?
Yes.
It was Mark Grace?
No, too soon for Gracie. I believe one was a right fielder.
Keith Moreland?
No. MVP.
Huck.
Yeah.
Andre Dawson.
He was right field, right? Or?
Yeah, I was thinking center field for him. That's when he was on the Expos.
Catcher?
Jody Davis.
Yep.
Cub catcher of the year.
Starting pitcher?
Ricky Sutcliffe.
Yep. Shortstop?
Shawan Dunston.
Yep. Closer?
Big Lee Smith.
Yes. And I'm not sure where this next guy played. I'm guessing outfield because I don't think he was third base. And he's not short or second or first. Or I don't think first.
You're guessing outfield.
I'm guessing outfield.
Did I say his name already?
No.
Okay.
The name, I recognize the name.
Not Jay Johnstone.
No. Do you want his initials?
Yeah.
LD?
Oh, Leon Durham.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bull. He was first baseman.
So he was he the first baseman for Gracie?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so that was the Cubs on 1988 start.
Yeah. And Ron Say doesn't come up?
No. They didn't have him for everybody because the White Sox had number 3, Harold
Baines.
My boy Ozzie. Our longtime hitting coach, Greg Walker. One Carlton Fisk.
Pudge.
Yeah, and Gary Redus? Redus? Gary?
Don't remember him.
Don't know him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a little fun of going.
Yeah, we're kind of going down a rabbit hole here. So Pastor, what is your favorite? What is one of your favorite Christmas memories?
Favorite? I don't know. There's a lot. Like I think of like one that was actually kind of maybe meanish of my family. Like, with like Santa. Like I remember like leaving my grandma's house and we'd be going up the street and like, oh, there's Santa going in that house. And I'd look at her like, oh, you just missed him. And they kept doing that to me.
Oh, boy.
Just like, oh, you just missed seeing him. And I was just like, oh, come on, guy.
They would do that to me. Oh, did you see him on that roof? And I'm like, what? No, I didn't see him. Yeah. There's that whole thing.
I mean, I think of like even like sitting at the top of the stairs at my parents' house with my 2 older brothers waiting for mom and dad to say, okay, you guys can come downstairs.
Yeah.
And then running down the stairs to open up presents.
So you guys just got to open them up
like
at the same time?
No, like one person would open, but we all would be waiting for mom and dad to be ready for the 3 of us to come downstairs.
Right.
But it'd just be like waiting at the top of the stairs for that, okay, you guys can come down, and then it was just that, okay, let's start opening presents.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I shared it at the staff party about when Santa came to visit me in our house. I don't know. I was pretty young. And Santa, I was kind of afraid of him, and I don't know, I probably was kind of crying a little bit, but he picked me up and he was holding me, all very jolly and jovial, and I was like, I didn't know what to make of him, and I was like confused, like, can't believe he's in my house,
Right.
And all of a sudden I look and I notice his hands, and Santa's hands, he didn't have gloves on. So his thumb was, what's the word?
Double jointed.
Double jointed, and it bent all the way back, kind of. And in my little kid head, I'm like, I only know one person who has a thumb like that. That's my mom and dad's friend, Irv Niemeyer. And so I look Santa in the face, and I go, you're not Santa, you're Irv. And it was Irv dressed as Santa, and he just busts out laughing. He had a big belly. He's like, who's Irv? And then my dad was cracking up, and they're like, the whole room broke up. And I got to give Irv credit. He stayed in character, but that was about all I remember. And then I kind of settled down, wasn't so upset because I think then he had some presents of some sort for me. But I was really interested in like when he left the house, where was he going? So I ran to the picture window and I was like looking to see where he went.
Where's the sled? Where's the reindeer?
Yeah, and so that was a definite distinct memory.
Isn't it funny, the little things that are things we remember about those times?
Yeah, like why as a kid was I focused on that? And I mean, it's an unusual thing. You don't see people's thumbs, bending back that far.
How do you notice his thumb was double?
Well, he was holding me, and like I was in his arms with my legs around him, and like I just saw his arm, holding my leg, and then the thumb was back, and I'm like, hey. This is something.
I've seen this before.
Yeah, you can't get this past me, man.
But yeah, that whole idea of like the Santa and keeping it secret from kids. And
what was there ever a gift that your mom and dad surprised you on that you never even thought that you would get?
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think because I know the one you're talking about because you talked about that. Because, like, I mean, growing up, like, for me, like, a lot of my Christmas was Brio, like my Brio
the
train set. You know, Ghostbuster, Ninja Turtle action figures. Those are some, like, you know, childhood ones. Those are the main ones I remember. I'm sure there was something. I want to say even one year, maybe it was Christmas, Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh, I remember that guy.
The little stuffed bear that you put a cassette tape in and then it would tell a story.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Teddy Ruxpin. I had my Teddy Ruxpin.
All right, so you were excited to get him.
So I did that, or Creepy Crawlers.
I kind of remember the name. I can't remember what they
It was like, you got this almost like little oven thing, and you got little like metal molds, and you could like put the goo or whatever in there, and it would make like the little like squishy, rubbery like toys. You'd go put it in there.
You couldn't eat them though.
No. Right, so you just kind of, and you had different colors, so you could make them different colors, and you cook them in there, and then that, or like I think of like the Nerf guns, like the Nerf bow and arrow, because that was always a fun time as a kid. Like this is probably Christmas break time. I think of like being on the stairs and going up to our upstairs at my parents' house and like having Nerf wars with my brothers with the bow and arrows, where we had pillows at the top to be kind of the fort, and you're like looking from the bottom of the stairs up and like around the corner. At times too, we would do it in the basement with like a Transformers tent and like my big like fort, like my plastic fort, like that was brown.
Yeah. Well, the one I'm gonna go off to a different gift.
Oh.
So one year I got a 10-speed Schwinn bicycle, and I did not expect that at all. And it was one of those where everybody got done, or at least I got done opening my gifts, and then all of a sudden my dad comes walking down the hallway with a 10-speed, and they're like, "Here's your 10-speed." And so I was like gassed to get a 10-speed because that was the deal. Like I must have been like 8. And so that was kind of neat.
But was it kind of a little hard? Like, oh, I can't go ride it right away?
Well, I can't remember. It was probably cold, but I probably took it out for a test drive. Yeah, but yeah, it was one of those you had to wait the winter to go enjoy it. I know, for sure.
But yeah, thinking about like things I remember too. I remember as a kid, especially like because Mom would bake a ton of cookies for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Like, I remember her making what we called the wreath cookies, which was like cornflakes and this like melted marshmallow.
Yeah, those are good.
And then, I just remember like, okay, you can put the red hots on for the holly berries. So I always remember doing that. Or decorating the Spritz cookies with the sprinkles or whatever.
Yep. Any kind of cookie, Christmas cookie with sprinkles on them, I'm down. Like those sugar cookie, whatever, or any kind of cookie. The one that is my ultimate favorite are these small little green Christmas trees.
Okay.
And, they kind of got sprinkles on them. I don't know why. I mean, they don't have a minty taste or anything like that, but that has long been my favorite one. And they're only like real small. And, in terms of like, me and cookies and milk, the dunkability factor, they don't soak up the milk too well, but, they're worthy of trying to dunk. But, man, I could eat a ton of those little green Christmas trees.
Yeah, those wreath ones were not dunkable.
No, they weren't.
Those are not dunkable.
Yeah, those are like not frosted, Rice Krispie kind of marshmallow treats.
Yeah, and like, I'm trying to think. Like, I know my mom would make these like chocolate cookies that had like powdered sugar on them. I always liked those.
Yeah, one year out at SIU in Carbondale when I was in college, my sister Carol sent me a care package just before Christmas. And so it's this big honking box. And she lived in Colorado. And I had to go get it and bring it through. And, the RA he sees me carrying this big box. He's like, "Hey, Warren, what do you got in there, beer?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right. I don't know what it is. It's pretty heavy." But I'm like, "Yeah, right, it's beer. Sure." I get to my dorm, I open it up. It's a case of Coors beer, which couldn't be bought east of the Mississippi. And inside of the whole box were the green Christmas tree cookies. I'm like, yes. She gave me a whole box full of green Christmas tree cookies. And Coors beer was cool too, but I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, good thing I didn't open it in front of the RA. I'd have been busted.
Right.
So anyway, the long-standing favorite cookie.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and like the other thing I like a lot that my mom makes is the Chex Mix. The cereal mix.
Yeah, that's good.
That's always a good, And every year, Mom seems to change it up a little bit, change out a couple of the items that are in there. But that's always a go-to favorite.
And then how about I guess they're like nougat balls. They're and then they got powdered sugar on top. They just there's a little nut inside, I don't even know, almost like an almond. And they're little balls, and they have there's powdered sugar on them, and they're really good. I like those as well.
The other thing my mom making, I don't know, I think people like them. Like I said earlier, I'm not a peppermint, but they're almost like a meringue that was hard, but it was with a lot of candy canes crushed on them. So it was like a candy cane.
Okay.
But yeah,
those sound tasty.
I remember her making those as a kid, but I just remember there'd be 7 or 8 different tins of different styles of cookies at Christmas time.
Oh man, I enjoyed when Mom would make them. I'd find myself in the kitchen, how can I help? Well, the way I helped was licking the batter bowl. After she was done, she would leave some, and oh man, I would just eat up the cookie batter like no tomorrow, and that was the greatest. And then when she was done with the mixer, the 2 mixing prong things, I would lick off of that. And so, those are good memories, the making of the cookies.
Right.
And, certainly your chocolate chips are always good and things like that. But anything with red and green sprinkles won the day for me.
Okay, like I said, the wreath cookies were always a favorite. And those chocolate ones that had powdered sugar on them.
Yeah. Yeah. How about store-bought Christmas cookies?
I don't remember. Growing up, I don't think it was always homemade.
We got theirs, and they're still out there. They're called Jingles, and they're different kind of cookie designs. One's an ornament, one's a Christmas tree, one's a bell, and they have the red and green sprinkles on them.
Oh, I see what I'm looking at.
They come in a green box, and they're much smaller nowadays, of course. The cookie themselves and the box.
I see now it's called Santa's Favorites by Salerno.
Oh, okay. Those, I could eat a whole box full of Jingles. I'd watch the Bozo Show and with my milk and cookies, and that was a good dunkable store-bought cookie because you dunk it in your milk and all the sprinkles would go in the milk. So now your milk is green and red and it's real Christmassy.
Well, here's a Reddit post from 8 years ago. Does anyone remember Jingles, specifically Jingles made by Sunshine? These have been redone. I believe Keebler makes the same cookies now, but original Jingles
That's them.
Were so good.
Oh man, were they ever?
And so it's I remember these, a staple of in our house during Christmas time. They go great with coffee, which I'm sure you know how great they are with coffee.
I love my coffee, all right. Another one was Petridge Farms. They had a bunch of different. They had that nougat cookie that I was trying to describe earlier. They had a peppermint cookie, peppermint balls, and so they were kind of as close as you could get in a store-bought cookie to an actual cookie.
Okay.
And those were really good. When my mom got those, they were kind of in a smaller box, and you still see them at Jewel every now and again. But they were a little more expensive, so Mom wouldn't go to town on buying those.
But yeah, what good times! It's it's one of those these are the memories that you always remember.
Mm-hmm. How about favorite Christmas songs?
I do like Silent Night. That's always a favorite.
That gets you.
But I do like Carol of the Bells.
Oh, very nice.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure. I like. What is it? Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices. Night Divine.
Oh.
Oh, night divine, oh, night. And any Bing Crosby singing Christmas to me is good.
I always think of, Angels We Have Heard on High. Do you like that one?
Yeah.
Or Noel.
Or Do You Hear What I Hear? That's a Bing Crosby one. That version, said the night wind to the little lamb. Crooning it out. Do you hear what I hear?
What about the little drummer boy?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you talk about Bing Crosby. I think of the Bing Crosby thing he did with David Bowie. I don't know if you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I think we've talked about
Yeah.
that earlier. How Bing really didn't appreciate
David Bowie.
David Bowie much.
But I didn't realize he shortly died after that Bing Crosby.
I didn't either. Yeah.
And yeah, it was filmed like a month or two before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, he still sounded great singing Little Drummer Boy.
Yeah. So this memory is probably, too old for you because have you ever heard of Mitch Miller and his family?
Doesn't ring a
Okay,
bell.
for all you older folks like me, we used to have albums, and they were Christmas albums by this family, the Mitch Miller family. And in the album cover, there were sheets where you could tear out with all the lyrics of the songs. So we would play the Mitch Miller record, or I would, it was like me and my sister. We would try and get everybody to sing the Christmas carols in the living room. And, there was reluctant participation, especially as we got older. But I would hand out them and like, all right, we got to sing these. So we would sing a couple of those. And then my brothers would be like, this is stupid, let's stop, kind of stuff. But, Mitch Miller, he was always coming out with like Christmas albums back then. And my mom and dad had what was called a hi-fi stereo, had a record player and a radio, and it was like a big old cabinet, and you open it up from the top and you put it was something.
Man, those were the days.
Those were the days. That was hi-fi stereophonics is what it was called.
Ooh, that sounds fancy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I know
was.
what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
can picture it in my head.
Yep. But good memories. Hopefully you all are enjoying, remembering some old memories as we kind of go on and on about ours. And thanks for listening to us, and hope you're able to make new memories this Christmas season.
PD and P Dubs, unscripted.